Hi, Ginny. Thank you so much for joining the CIO Association of Canada's My Career in Tech, featuring 22 women in technology who are powering and supporting and empowering diversity in tech. Thanks so much for joining us. So first, I thought we would just start off by having you introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about your current role, and then the role you play as a volunteer with the CIO Association of Canada.
Thank you, Lee. It is definitely my honor to be part of this program and really thankful for having me here today. I'm working in MUFG Canada as head of IT. My responsibility there is having to manage the technology strategy and support to MUFG Canada branch. And part of my role also is to support the business continuity there. And currently, I'm serving the board role in CIO Canada, and I'm belongs to the event and program and working alongside with a few great tech leader in the board and creating meaningful chapter events for our members.
Thank you very much for that introduction, and thank you so much for your support of the CIO Association of Canada. I know you're part of the Toronto chapter, but we've worked together on a number of events that are really helping to support our members with everything from career development through to networking and all of those great things we do as an association. But it's all powered by people like you. So thank you so much for volunteering your time with us. We really appreciate it. So we're in March right now recording this. It's International Women's Month. And we had International Women's Day, and we had a really great interview with Shannon Leininger, the president of Cisco. But this year, the focus of IWD is on the theme of breaking the bias to create a world that's diverse, equitable, and inclusive. We know in Canada that gender diversity, especially for women in tech, is very low. Just wondering about the gender bias, that you may have faced, and some examples of, I guess, really how we can improve inclusivity in the sector. Whether through policies at work or other things that we do. So would love your feedback on that.
I would love to share some thoughts. Through my career, I have seen a few incidents, if you will, about the gender bias or basically stereotype to female in tech field. And I can give a very simple example is I had one male hiring manager and basically a couple of female resume was rejected just because of their gender and thinking that because female just not good at the role. And I think that kind of stereotype, we need to address that. The reason is bias not only is hurting women from getting hired, it's also hurting women from getting promoted, let alone just get through day to day. So through my career, there are a few thoughts that I have actually think that it will be very useful to break that bias. Number one is really getting from the source, meaning education. Through my career in tech field, there are times, actually many times, that we literally just don't have female resume in the candidate pool. And to understand more is really, until today, it's the women's that they choose to go into tech field, it's still very low number. And even for female that they pick tech school subjects as their major, and less number of female would stay in tech field and end up become their career. So I think that we need to do some more in this area where giving young women a chance and show them the path that they can have a meaningful career in tech. And secondly, it is to promote and giving, I call it the on-ramp for women. And from a company perspective, we can set up co-op program, internship, really to show that there are a lot of opportunity for women as well. And the third thing is really comes to hiring. We have to really be intentional looking for women resume and candidates. When it comes to hiring, I think that we have to be intentional to attract female talents because the industry is growing really fast and sometimes we just didn't give females a chance to purposely look for those candidates. And having that purposeful hiring process will help. And finally, it's really the support the employer can give. I think that the flexibility that we can provide to female is so important. Number one, at some point, female will have to choose other role in their life. For example, become a mother, and how we can support women to satisfy both role, being a mother and employee, is so crucial. There's been report and data show that female would choose to leave their job because of the family, or even women will be penalized when they become a mother, and which is it's always the opposite for male. So I think that as employer we need to address those and how we can help female to have that flexibility.
I really, really love those insights. Thanks so much. And I know as an organization, CIO Association, we're looking at partnerships with the WIT Technology Network, Women in Tech, so that, women at beginning at their career get more support around training. Like you talk about, how do we have that pipeline of women coming through? As you know, we're partnering with HackerGal. They empower girls in grades 6 to 9 to learn about coding and go to a hackathon. And I was talking to them about demystifying for young girls the words computer science, because that's where you head to potentially when you go to university. And it sounds scary, right? So they talk about that and they make it fun. So, and I love I love what you're saying about intentional. That all of these interviews I've been doing with these amazing women talk about intentional purpose of making change within organizations. So I just appreciate all that very much. So I wanted to go to the next question, and I recently read some research about women in fintech. And the good news is women make up approximately half of all financial services workforces in countries around the world. Yet women only fill about 20% of the leadership roles. So just wanted to talk to you about any steps you feel financial organization and fintechs could take to ensure that women are represented in those leadership roles.
Great question. I think that it's very similar to the hiring being intentional. I think that in organizations, especially in fintech, it can be very explicit to make sure that between women and men, we're being given equal chance to get into the promotion opportunity. And number two is having the transparency for company to set up a diversity policy. And what it means is to have the board and senior executive to show their support to women and to fight for that gender bias, as well as to promote the diversity. This, not only that it helps women, but actually it better serves its clients to achieve the business goal. And I think that these two important things can definitely, as the start, to help women. And I think that for women, ourselves, as we're getting into the leadership role, and we need to be helping each other and provide a ladder for other women to get on the leadership, because it's actually very rewarding and meaningful to get into this role.
Yeah, not to mention that women in leadership, all the data around that and research is that, women in leadership really provide stakeholder value within companies. There's greater stakeholder value. So I agree. It's the opportunity to network, to share, to help other women along the way, knowing that collectively we can help improve, stakeholder value across the companies or organizations we work in. Thank you for that very much. So you talked a little bit about women, and we have roles with family, with members, being caregivers. So are there 3 actions you do in your daily work-life balance to break the bias and encourage a voice for women, especially in tech?
I think that a few actions that we can do. Number one for myself is I remind myself that I need to be the model for other women, and really also using myself as the voice to prove that women and men can be equally great in leadership role. And number two is that as 70% of women, they see bias at work these days, and how we address that. When we see bias, we need to address that with wisdom rather than being an outsider and pretend that nothing happened. And I also want to say that we all have unconscious and conscious bias. Even women do as well. We don't have to demonize people who show bias. Rather, we need to have the common ground and help each other to break that bias. Because oftentimes this is our brain that trick us. It is our brain tell us that get the shortcut. This is how you learn in the past. This is how you were told in the past. This is a shortcut and make a decision quickly. So that kind of stereotype, if we have the mindfulness to pause and reflect on how we think and how we act, I think that will be a great other ways to break that bias. And honestly, really going back to my previous point about helping women is that we need to be compassionate to each other. We cannot be successful by ourselves, and we need to help each other to change this. So helping each other to have the support platform for women is going to be my third take on the action that we can break this.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being here today to support all of this, because this is such an important part of what we do as an organization, is to share these ideas and thoughts and how we can grow as an organization and become more diverse as well. So the last question I have for you are, what are 3 tips you can provide women in the workforce really to help them support their career? So it could be maybe someone younger starting, coming into the workforce, or maybe someone more advanced in their career. What are some tips that you think would be beneficial and helpful to those women?
I am a big advocate of having a mentor. I can't stress enough that how crucial it can change someone when they have a mentor. And enrolling into mentorship program, either number one, find your inspiration, find your mentor will be a great start. And hopefully that as we all have our experience through the career, we can also become the mentor for other mentees, really just to pay it forward, so that not only that we share experience. In fact, through my mentor experience, I also find that there's so much to learn from other women as well. And secondly, it is really, don't be afraid to ask for help. And your help inspiration is just really one question away. And you never know who can be your next person that can change your point of view to your career and help the development. And lastly is truly believe in ourselves that we're good enough. I often heard that women, they don't have their confidence and feel that they need to do much more to become a successful leader. Looking back, I think that having the confidence in ourselves, it is so important to really to set the stage and help you to get to the next step.
Really fantastic. Thank you so much for those 3 tips. And thank you so much, Jay, for joining us for My Career in Tech. We really appreciate your insights and really look forward to continuing these discussions in the coming year and years ahead to really help improve diversity and equity across the board for all women working in tech. So thank you so much, Gini. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lee.